Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings and a 5-minute review. I'm happy, I've got a cup of tea. Cheers. So today, it is about time I handled one of my heroes as a writer, because it was, I think, back in 1998 that I first came across him with his wonderful book Angel's Flight. Of course, the guy I'm talking about is Michael Connelly. I've got almost all his books. I started reading Angel's Flight in the middle of reviewing a bunch of books for Shots magazine, and although most of the other books were really quite good, there was one from Dennis Lehane, for example, which I quite enjoyed. I was suffering from a bad cold, and having finished Dennis Lehane's book, I picked up Angel's Flight and I was utterly hooked. And I do mean absolutely utterly hooked. The book was fantastic. My dog has just walked past and hit the lever that drops my chair down. I will just hit my lever again, if I can. Right. The trials and tribulations of having a ridgeback. So, Angel's Flight was fantastic because it was like I felt watching a movie. You felt as involved, as present up front with that story as you would do watching a film. Utterly superb. I've read most of his books: The Black Echo, The Black Ice, The Concrete Blonde, The Last Coyote, The Poet. All of them excellent, excellent stories. I like not only the Harry Bosch books, I've also really thoroughly enjoyed the Lincoln Lawyer series as well. And basically, he can do very little wrong as far as I'm concerned. What do I like about Michael Connelly's books? Well, generally it's the feeling that he really has got at his fingertips all the details of a crime scene investigation. He really does seem to know exactly how the police operate, and it's not surprising. He lists a number of police officers at the back of the book and thanks them for all their help. Detective Mitzi Roberts of the LAPD, and former and current detectives Rick Jackson, Tim Marcia, David Lamkin. So he knows the police well. He knows also how Los Angeles works from his days when he used to be a crime reporter. So this guy has in-depth knowledge. This book is really very interesting. It's working at a story from two angles. So it's got the Harry Bosch angle, but then he's also going on with another detective, Renee Ballard. And the story switches, so you'll have 2 or 3 chapters of Harry Bosch, then you'll have 2 or 3 chapters from Renee's angle as well. So it's chopping and changing slightly, but it doesn't matter because the two approaches interleave very nicely with the story. So it says here, Detective Renee Ballard has faced everything in the LAPD's notorious dusk till dawn graveyard shift has thrown at her, but until tonight she's never met Harry Bosch. Soon she will, because she'll become obsessed by the murder of Daisy Clayton, because Ballard and Bosch both know every murder tells a story. Now, the idea of this is that Harry has actually been looking after Daisy Clayton's mother for a while. The woman was a single mother. Daisy Clayton was murdered. The mother went off the rails, got into drugs. Harry found her, and to help her, gave her a room in his house. No side benefits for either party. It was just he was giving her a space so that she could come clean of drugs. That's his angle. And because of that, he's decided he wants to look into Daisy Clayton's murder and see if he can find out, because it was an unsolved crime. So this sets him off going into the police station and trying to find people who would know a bit more about the Daisy Clayton murder and how it happened and when. Now, the story is really good. The story is strong. I finished this book in 2 days because it is thoroughly gripping. Superbly well written, as you'd expect from a Michael Connelly. Was there anything I disliked about it? Yes. 2 things. The first, just every so often, Connelly is going into one a bit. He's explaining a bit too much. So if there's record cards, he explains exactly how they look, exactly what they're like on the back, and exactly the sort of language that's used on them, and why they're called the shakedown cards, and it gets a bit, you know, when you get to be as famous as Michael Connelly and you've sold as many books as Michael Connelly, editors tend to sort of back away and say, oh, I can't be too hard on you. Well, actually, yes, you should be, because you're going to hurt his reputation if you don't edit him as hard as you would do anybody else. So that's a little bit of a niggle. Just a little bit. There's something else which I really found bloody irritating, though, and that is rubbish editing on a different angle. I got fed up at page 214. And so from page 214 I listed where this happened. And what was happening was, let me just go to a page and I can demonstrate. Here, you can see it reads, the acronym selection section, you never tired of it, they got, and there is a carriage return in there for absolutely no reason. And what happens is that there's been a huge number. I've got it 214, 220. I also found it on 273, 282. And these are just the pages where they sprang out at me and I had a bit of paper to hand, so I made a note of them. There's loads and loads more. I say loads and loads. Maybe it happened 10 times. But what you're finding is that someone's talking, the talking continues, stops, there's a carriage return, so a new paragraph, and then they continue talking. No quote marks or anything, it's just obviously someone has put in some padding. I don't know if it's a typesetting error or what it might have been, but I do know it's bloody irritating when you pay good money for a book and you find that they haven't bothered to do the copy editing that carefully. You know, this has gone through a copy editor and a proofreader. That should not still be there. And I would say, I can say all this because, as you can see, I bought this book. It is not something that was sent to me for a cheap review from the publisher. So, is it a good book? Yes, it is. Of course it is. It's a Michael Connelly. He is a fantastic writer. Is it worth buying? Yes, of course it is. It's a fantastic writer. It's a brilliant story. So go out and buy it. If you're feeling that way inclined and you're kind and generous, buy one of my books as well when you're in the bookshop or on Amazon, because I need the sales more than him. But apart from that, I hope that was interesting. Right, and now I have to write a talk. I'm giving a talk tomorrow to the Chudley Literary Festival. I've also got to write a newsletter, and I've got to write a couple of elements for another blog. Plus I've got to finish editing this book, which is taking me ages. I've got 6 more weeks to finish it. Yikes, yes, 6 more weeks. And so I'm not going to hang around. That's about the 5-minute mark. I hope it was worthwhile and interesting. If you liked it, go down the bottom, hit the link to Patreon, and you can go and join my Patreon following, which would be very nice. If you'd like to, go and add any comments you've got about Michael Connelly, any of his other books, because I'm interested to have a chat. So that's in the comments section. If you like this and you would like to be warned of other videos that might be coming up, go and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, all that stuff. Share it, like it, and all those things. And basically, I'm going to go back to my cup of tea and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.